There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was a Billy of Tea. The winds blew up her bow, up down, oh below my bully boys blow. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.
Putting funding together for these large projects is like putting together a puzzle.
Ballot Prop 1 is for a clean water loan to remove the pilings and replace the pilings in the harbor. By getting this loan and using that towards the pilings, we're not using any of the other grant money to replace pilings, so it frees up all that $2 million or so to do the drive down.
The drive down dock is an important part of this project, and as a fisherman, if it's important to you, it's important that we pass Proposition 1.
People can just pull up to it. It'll have cranes on it. They can load and offload nets. Any kind of the mechanics or welders that want to work on the people's boats, they can pull right up to it with their work truck, saving time, transportation, and money.
When we have a rescue that requires us to pull somebody from any of the floating docks, we have to take a gurney down the gangway, and again, depending on the low tide, it can be pretty steep. Like on a really, really low tide, like a minus something, it's going to be something like that of pitch. And it takes us going to wherever they can, moor up, and then getting them off, and then hauling them back up the gangway. So it's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort, and it takes a fair number of strong people, and again, depending on the size of the victim. But it happens often enough, and that it's kind of silly. Like, we should have some place where we can access directly. It's just that much more time that they're going to be waiting before they can get to a higher level of care.
We qualify due to we have creosote pilings in the harbor, and it would increase or improve the water quality of the harbor by removing them and putting steel pilings in. If you're ever down there, especially when it's warm out in the summer, you'll actually see the rainbow sheen around creosote pilings from the creosote leaching out.
The money to pay for the loan payment will come from the harbor revenue.
The funding source is the state matching grant from DOT. That's a $5 million grant with a $5 million bond that the community voted on in 2019, I believe it was. And then we have the RAISE grant, which is a federal grant for $20 million. It's usually at least 50% you're putting up. So, if we're putting up 7 to get 32, pretty incredible.
The harbor can afford this. Their current revenue stream can afford both the loan payment and the bond payment.
This fund source will allow us to complete the project.
On February 5th, I'll be manning a booth from 2 to 6 at the Iceworm Bazaar to discuss or answer any questions on Proposition 1 or any other questions that you have about the South Harbor Rebuild Project.
Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum.
And we're done. Cut. We're going to have a blooper section too.
There's not.